Hi guys, I'm Kate Naito. I'm a dog trainer in Brooklyn, New York with Doggie Academy, and I'd like to talk about what happens during your first private lesson with a dog trainer. So prior to meeting me face-to-face, you would have filled out an intake form. So I would already understand generally what your needs are and what your background and your dog's background is. When we meet then, we hash it out for a few minutes, we talk about some things, I get a sense of what kinds of training techniques might interest you the most and might be the most suitable for your dog. And from there, we start to build a plan. And there's a couple of different areas that we usually address with these plans. The first area is called management. And so when you're having either a behavior issue or a manners issue, sometimes the fastest and easiest way to start dealing with it is to use management. So for example, that means, let's say your dog is jumping on the furniture and you don't want him to anymore. Management would be you put something on the couch so that your dog can no longer physically jump up on it. Or maybe you shut the door to the room where the furniture is so your dog physically can't jump on it. So management is not going to teach your dog good manners, but it's going to stop the problem from continuing. So it certainly has its place, especially in the early stages of training. Beyond management, then there is training. And training refers to having an undesirable behavior that your dog is doing and teaching him how to do a more appropriate or desirable behavior instead. So for example, if I don't want my dog jumping up on the couch, I will teach my dog to go to his doggy bed on cue. And so it's replacing the undesirable with the desirable of going to the doggy bed. And training, of course, it takes some time, it takes some practice. And while you're working on it, management can really help you get through the first stage. So management and training tend to go hand in hand. Within training, there are two separate areas. So let's say your dog has a behavior issue that you would like to work on. In many cases, that is, maybe my dog is reacting to other dogs on leash. It's growling or barking. It could also be something like separation anxiety or a fear of certain things like fireworks or certain kinds of people. People in helmets. It actually happens quite a lot in New York City. So when your dog has an emotional reaction to something in a negative way, we want to do behavior modification. And so this kind of training is to strictly deal with the emotional side of things. It teaches your dog how to feel differently about his triggers. So Beans, her trigger used to be other dogs. She felt pretty unhappy when she would see another dog on the sidewalk. But through behavior modification, or what we call doggy therapy, she now feels differently when she sees dogs on the street. She's much more relaxed and happy. Then there is manners training, or what we used to call obedience training. Manners training teaches your dog to do something, not necessarily to feel something. So manners training would be great for behavior issues. For example, teaching your dog to do a heel past another dog or past a squirrel or whatever that trigger might be. It doesn't address the emotional side though. So when you have a behavior issue, we really need to deal with the feelings and then also deal with what your dog should do when he sees the trigger. So in Bean's case too, we did a lot of heels, we did a lot of hand targets, we did a lot of other like fun little rally obedience techniques in the presence of triggers, so she knows what to do now when she's confronted with a trigger. When I meet an owner and a dog for a private lesson, it's usually some combination of management, behavior modification if there is a behavior issue, and manners training. So every dog is a little bit different, and I might see 3, let's say, dog reactive dogs in one day, and I probably will have 3 somewhat different protocols for each dog, depending on the client's needs and the dog's needs. So even though there's structure, there's a lot of flexibility within the protocols. I hope that helps.